some reason, some people want to watch us play. I don't know. I'm trying to give them the link.
Can't be qualified for being late.
Must be sad on the Friday night wanting to watch us.
Come on.
Wolverhampton closed on Wednesday, Friday nights these days.
So the last game of the day, of this opening Friday of the fourth event of the Supreme Pool Series, is upon us. The very familiar face and familiar figure of Mick Hill on the left-hand side. There may be not quite so familiar for many of you, Sam Bircher on the right-hand side. I know that in the last event, I think it was Sam Bircher who beat Jordan Shepherd, so he's not adverse to taking a big sculp or two. Fairly sure it's the last event that he beat Jordan. It's Sam Bircher on the right. His nickname is Fingers, and he's 21 years old. He uses a Mike Wooldridge cue with a 9mm Kamui tip. You can see he's got a breaking cue as well, which looks like an adapted American pool cue with that kind of white plastic ferrule on the end. You can see the binding down the bottom, with familiar on those American pool cues. Greatest pool achievements: winning the Golden Cue Singles, winning the Staffordshire Open, runner-up in the Players Amateur Championships. And I do know that I'm fairly sure he's local to this club. I think he plays, plays from this club. I think he's local to the area, could be mistaken. Given the fact he's in the Staffordshire Open, you would think he's from around here. Started playing pool at 10 years of age, so that was just 3 years ago, as you can tell. Just 13 years old now, young Sam Bircher. No, I'm just joking. He's 21. He started playing at 10 after a couple of years of watching his dad play in the pub. And from then, he fell in love with the game. His greatest influence has been Rob Chilton, which does suggest even more that he's from around this area. Rob from the Midlands. The first time he went into the Midlands Snooker Club, he remembers seeing Rob Chilton play, thinking, this guy doesn't miss. We're just having to be a bit careful here because that yellow is pretty much touching the black ball, so she's having to be really precise. Favourite Q Sport player, Gareth Potts. Sam Bircher thinks that he's the GOAT. He's won everything there was to win in such a short period of time and become dominant in English at 8-ball, and there's also his determination to win everything he plays in. When asked about his feelings and anticipations for the Supreme Pool Series, he thought it was the best thing to happen in English pool. Having Lee Kendon involved is a massive help because of his reputation in the game. An interesting story about him, interesting fact, is that he's got double jointed fingers, so his bridge hand can look a bit odd. So we'll just watch out for that as the match goes on. The best player he's ever played against was Jimmy Croxton. He cleared up every single frame. So that's Sam Bircher, who's making an impressive start to this match. And fairly dot-to-dot finish. He's left a nice angle now. He can just play this yellow into top left corner. You'll see him just put maybe a trace of left side on the ball just to help it. Didn't feel he needed it. And literally just needs to drop this yellow in. And the black is sat waiting for him. So, when he knew that he would be playing Mick Hill, this is exactly how he would have wanted this first frame to pan out. Mick Hill won't be in the slightest bit concerned. He's been behind in quite a few games throughout this series, and he just seems to have an accelerator pedal in the middle frames. So Sam's opponent requires little introduction. He's Mick Hill. His nickname is TPC, or the People's Champion. He's 37 years old. He uses the BCE Craftsman Q with the Elkmaster tip. His pool achievements, when he wrote this, he wrote 4 times world champion. But since then, he's stuck another one in the bag and he's now 5 times world champion. He started playing pool at age 5 when his dad bought him a 3-foot table. His greatest influence has been his dad, who encouraged him to play in the first place, and Paul Heath, who was his first ever sponsor. His favourite Q Sports player, Ronnie O'Sullivan, in snooker, because he's a genius in pool. Darren Appleton, because he's the best he's ever played. American pooler, Earl Strickland, because he's similar to Ronnie. And Chinese 8-ball, Yubo. You got to say, got to agree with that, Yubo, phenomenal player. What else would he like to achieve in the pool world? And it's. I remember reading this at I think the second series, and he was given a target of 5 world titles by his first sponsor when he was 19 years old. So he said he'd like to fulfill that challenge. Well, he's already done that since he wrote this profile. His anticipations for the Supreme Series, he just said he'd like Lee Kendall to be handing him a cheque for £51,000. An interesting story about him is that he actually doesn't like pool, but he can't get out. And the latest person he's blaming is Lee Kendall for introducing the series to him and getting him sucked back into the game. He's a real connoisseur of the game. Really interesting listening to him when he does his interviews. He's a real studier of the game. In his younger days, he was a very adept chess player as well. And his dad's favourite trophy is his school chess champions trophy. So he's got 5 world titles, and his dad, his favourite one is the the chess. So there we go. Those are the players. And a very quick look at the scores from around the arena. Ronan McCarthy's beaten Ben Flack 11-5. Clint Jansen, who probably, by his own admission, hasn't fulfilled his potential in this series so far, but he's cruising through at the moment. He beat Adam Davis 11-5. Liam White's 4-1 up against Cameron Dunlop. Interestingly, Ben Mackey, who had a bye in the first round against Tony Halpin, has given a bye in his second round match against John Rowe. So that's John Rowe into the second round winner's side. Darryl Whitworth is 6-3 up against Andy Barber. Darryl Whitworth we watched beat Greg Batten earlier today. Mark Boyd is playing Jez Graham 3-2 up. Rob Chilton against Dan Davey 3 each. Oli Bell 5-4 against Stefan Rosidi. Oli Bell fairly reeling back the years. And a really tough opponent in Stefan Rosidi, but Oli showing what he's capable of. I mentioned earlier that he did threaten that he was going to be on the stream during this one. He said he's going to go deep, no question. Carl Sutton 3-all against Craig Marsh. Jordan Shepherd and Neil Raybone yet to get underway. They're just waiting for table 3 to clear, which I think it now has. Michael Steele 3-2 up against Ben Rowland. Josh Kane 6-2 against Adam Marlowe. Martin McIntosh has travelled down from Scotland and he is 3-1 up against Sanjay Patel. Sean Chipperfield is beating Lee Washbrook 4-1. Declan Brennan 1-0 up against John McAllister. Jordan Church 3-0 up against Phil Naylor. And he looks, after his performance earlier on, he looks like he may be a feature this weekend. I might be tempted to go pay the bookie a visit and have a little tickle on Jordan. The two Jordans, actually. Jordan Shepherd may feature heavily this weekend, especially if he can get past that that game against Neil Raybone. And finally, the last game we can update is the one on table 4, another streamed game, and that's Gareth Hibbert is 2-1 up against Scott Gillespie. Early doors, but Gareth Hibbert with the early honours. Those two players will know each other well. So, we're up to date with everything. We know the players. Mick Hill finally comes to the table with an open chance, and he's 2-1 down. that one needed a little commentary as Mick worked his magic around the table. And it just trails by 1. And it's 2 frames to 1.
Frame number 4, Mick Hill to break, trailing 2 frames to 1. Time running.
So Mick Hill to get frame number 4 underway. Back on break. A red finds its way to the pocket. I think, given the choice, he would like to go reds, but he's not got an opener. When I say he hasn't got an opener, he's got a long red to bottom corner. I don't know. Indeed, he took that long one. Felt that the risk was worth taking given the position of the 2 yellows at the top right, covering each other. As a result, he just compromised his position a bit. He just caught the jaws at the bottom of the table. So your streamed games now are Carl Sutton, aside from this one, Carl Sutton versus Craig Marsh, Scott Gillespie versus Gareth Hibbert, and Jordan Shepherd against Neil Raybone. And this one, Mick Hill versus Sam Bircher. I mean, it's just a who's who of pool. A little containing shot from Mick just to get the red in front of those two yellows. There's a number of balls around the top of the table now, so there's 3 or 4 that Sam could use to come across and attack that problem. He could drop the one into the middle now, leave himself an angle on the one on the ball just this side of the bulk line. Yeah, I was just about to say, sorry, I just got interrupted. The yellow to the left-hand side, just above the bulk line, he could use that now and generate the angle to come back across table, and there you go. I mean, he was tracking straight towards that. So if he decided to play that with a bit more pace, he could have split that problem out. But I think he's going to look at it off of this ball. He can screw back. And that's pretty much exactly what he wants to do. He wants to hit it at a decent pace. He'll release one ball. If he hits them right in the middle, he'll release the top ball towards the pocket, top corner pocket. Yeah, that's not worked out. He needed to hit in between the two balls to get them both moving. That yellow doesn't pass, so again, he's got a plan B. He can drop this in the middle and leave yet another angle to try and stun into it again. But it is getting more difficult now. So just looking at the angle he needs, and the problem is with that shot, he can pop the top yellow on the bulk line and go into the yellow and red to break them out, but the only ball he can land on is the one that he's colliding into. Again, this one could go wrong. So he's looking at screwing off the side rail and coming up the back of it to push it towards the pocket. But again, I stress that that's the only ball he can land on. He won't be on anything else. So this needs to be precise. Yeah. I think he's on it. It's this too fine a cut. And he needed to hit cushion and collide with the yellow, not with the red. Just tried to play across the face of it. Thought he could nick it into the pocket. But all he's done is leave this wide open table for Mick. He's going to screw back to come up top of the table and take out this one stray ball at the top of the table. Again, executed that perfectly well. It's left a nice angle. Can now just stun back down table. He's left his red to middle. And this should be extremely straightforward. Wow, what's he done there? What on earth has he done there? I think he's trying to just stun the white ball across into yellow to contact the yellow, any contact with the yellow. And he would have been absolutely fine on this one in the middle. But goodness. That was just a bit loose. He's looking to bend it. Mick been putting in some miles this week. I know he's been busy doing some exhibitions. He was down in Buckinghamshire, I think, last night doing an exhibition, and straight back up the motorway today. He probably stayed down that way because he lives up in Morley, over by Leeds. Well, that's certainly where his club is. I imagine he Probably lives somewhere around that area near his club. Obviously originally from the Midlands. And he's left. Super opportunity for young Sam Bircher. Look at the line he wants to take. It's a not a massive amount of margin for error. He needs to top it on and off the top cushion, straight back down that gap. Oh, he's missed the ball. Wow. He's so focused on topping it down through that gap and making sure he left himself on the yellow to middle. He's forgotten the pot, and you just can't afford to make those mistakes against Mick Hill. You just cannot. You have to take every chance against him. And even early doors, the difference here between 3-1 and 2-all. It's just a massive, massive psychological swing. Sam will be thinking about that and carrying that with him over the next frame or so, whereas Mick will just breathe a sigh of relief and 2 frames will be on the board, and he will take the W. Thank you very much. 2 apiece. Ben Davis, off the back of that earlier loss against Jordan Church, he's just obviously headed back to the hotel for a bit of a freshen up and change his shirt, and he's now back in the arena watching this game. Obviously quickly put that loss behind him. I think he's the kind of player that does. He seems like a really, really good loser, actually. Takes it all in his stride. Just probably brushes it off by the time he's outside the door of the club. It's all forgotten. And now a dry break from Sam. And Mick not looking at his absolute best so far. And it needed Sam to take his chances. That one's gone slightly awry. Push that yellow up in between those 2 reds, so just causes him another small headache for later in the frame. Just breaking that one back open again. Just going to run up onto the red to leave the yellow in the top corner. No. I don't know if he's got... Can he see through the gap to the potting angle? To pot that in the middle? I don't think he can, I'd have to say. Well, he must be able to. He's left it. Absolutely he can. So, tiny bit of fortune there for Mick. That could have gone all wrong with that red going up between those 2 balls, but he's taken out this clearance really well. Half ball black to middle, he's never missing. And very quickly he goes from what should have been 3-1 down to 3-2 ahead. Against some players you can afford a tiny mistake or an error here or there. When you're playing one of the greatest players to ever pick up a cue, then he is going to afford you no such luxury. Just take another quick virtual tour of the arena to look at the scores. Liam White 6-2 against Cameron Dunlop. Mark Ball 5-2 up against Jez Graham. Dan Davey 5-3 against Rob Chilton. Stefan Rasidi's turned things around and is 1-3 on the trot, and he's 8-6 up against Odie Bell. Craig Marsh and Carl Sutton locked together at 5 each. Jordan Shepherd, who I just had a quick word with before this game kicked off, he's been back to the hotel room and he's been pretty ill. He was being sick just only about an hour or so ago. Thinks it's something he ate. That game just kicking off, so we'll keep an eye on that and how he's doing. He's currently 1-0 against Neil Raybone. Ben Rowland 5-3 up against Michael Steele. Josh Kane 6-4 against Adam Marlowe. Martin McIntosh 6-2 against Sanjay Patel. Sean Chipperfield 8-3 versus Lee Washbrook. John McAllister and Declan Brennan 1 frame each. Jordan Church 6-2 up against Phil Naylor, and Gareth Hibbert, Scott Gillespie tied together at 2 each. And when you think that Sean Chipperfield, Lee Washbrook, which is now 9-3, have played 12 frames, and they started just 7 minutes before John McAllister and Declan Brennan, who have played 2 frames. Odie Bell's pulled another one back against Stefan Rasidi and just trails by 1. Mick, I did mention sometimes a slow starter, but he just has a different gear, different class. He's 4-2 up, already looking ominous.
Bircher to break, trailing 4 frames to 2.
Big frame now for Sam. Has to re-establish himself in the game. Otherwise it's going to be gone before he knows it. Finds the ball. How's the split? Looks okay. Yellows look pretty good. Mick crosses his legs and sits back in the seat, resigns himself to be sitting there for at least another few shots. I think they all have a pocket. The yellow, as you can see, the one just sat on the edge of the shark right there, passes to the left side. He's obviously got the yellow on the top rail. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's going to open the account with the plant. And if he wants to, he's got a nice little angle just to nudge that yellow out. I quite like that shot actually, because he's going to be left on the one. If he cannons it full ball, he'll be left on the one to the middle and then be able to come down table. But, he may decide just to screw across the face of it and play the safe option and just play that yellow into the same pocket. Personal choice. Indeed, just screws across the face of the ball. It's probably a better idea really. He's just got better control because he needs to finish just off straight on the yellow over the pocket, so he can run down. Has to take the ball, which is just to the left of the black, the one that I mentioned on the edge of the shark rack. He has to take that as his penultimate ball, because if he takes the one to the right side, I don't think he's got any way of getting on that ball, so he's just looking now. Can't quite see the angle on the one over the middle. Maybe looks just a touch straight. Maybe okay. Can just, that's a better angle. Yeah, he could just run off of it. This is a yellow mention, and Sam's got a smile on his face. He's asked the referee to remove the shark rack. It's strange actually. It's well, it's not strange. I think it's just people's inexperience with the rack. Someone like Chris Melling, who's played many times with this rack, we've seen him use it, and he is quite happy to play balls across it. Because the thing is with this shot that he's got to take, he's got to play it firm anyway, so it's not going to deviate in any way. It's only when the balls roll across them gently they roll off. It's, as I say, someone more experienced like Chris Manning would just leave it on the table and just play the shot. You certainly can't blame him for wanting to get it removed. But I think as players get more used to playing with it and more experience with the shark rack, then they will probably just happily leave it on the table and, as I say, play a stunt shot across it. And this is one of the downsides to it, but it's one of the first times that we've seen anything like this today. A bit of a faff on occasions, but for the open play that we've seen throughout the day, it's more than made up for it. And the ref still has to get the rack off just to hold the two balls and then try and lift the rack over, not moving the black. Goodness me. We've watched a lot of frames on this table today, certainly over 60, and this is the first time we've seen any kind of issues like this. And young Sam knew by the smile on his face, he's still got a bit of a smirk there. He's probably going to just, sorry, Viv. Jordan Shepherd 2-1 up against Neil Raybone. Deserves a round of applause after that. She caused 10 seconds. And who can blame her after what she's just put, what Sam's just put her through? That's a great shot. Really played that well, controlled it well, and made this a simple finish. And this is a good comeback. He can just top this through to leave the black in the middle. There's been a nice clearance, and he reduces the deficit from 2 frames down to 1, and he trails 4 frames to 3. Nice clearance that from Sam. Lovely break dish, just what he needed. Showed a lot of heart there. Jordan Shepherd game has just dramatically gone 2 frames apiece. Jordan played some kind of audacious shot, and I don't know, the black went flying into the corner bag. Got that game just to my right on one of the other stream tables. Stream tables are table 3, table 4, table 11, which is the Craig Marsh game, and this table 16.
Frame number 8, Mick Hill to break, trailing 4 frames to 3. Sorry, leading 4 frames to 3. Time running.
For 3 to Mick Hill, and he's broken dry. So Sam Bircher with another look at the table. The ref counting down. He's got what looks like a little black carbon fiber ferrule, which is something we don't see very often on a playing cue. See them on the breaking cues and see them on the American cues, but we don't see them very often on the English 8-ball cues. So the problem now becomes the balls at the bottom left corner. So I think dropping the one by the black and try and leave an angle to screw down into them, as he left the right angle. I don't know. Has he left too much? Well, he obviously feels that he can get down there. He's going to have to dig into this. Play it with left-hand side. See him cueing the bottom of the ball. Well, I think he's tried. I don't believe that yellow passes the red for the plant. It maybe that's what he was going for, but I think he was just trying to play a delicate little, just to come down and glance into the side of the yellow, leave himself on the one closest to the pocket, but just open that yellow out, just push the red to one side, which would open it for that pocket. I don't know what he's got here now, unless the plant does go. Has to watch out for that clock. Referee calls 10 seconds. He has to make a decision very soon. No, it's going to be a little containing shot. So judging by the way he played this earlier, you have to assume that the yellow doesn't pass the red directly to the plant, but he could go cushion first. If he can control it, he can go cushion first. Plant the yellow in. Just has to be careful where the other yellow is going to go, because it's going to head across towards the red. And so, just covers the bag, takes charge of the game. Going to cut this red. Go side cushion and knock the other one out. This will be some shot. This will be some shot. Wow. What a great shot. And he's gone for the developing shot there as well. You can see the pace of the table and how reactive it is. Screwed around a couple of rails and trying to knock that red up over the middle bag. But if anything, he's made it a touch worse. No, he doesn't want to leave that red on the side rail now until last, because it doesn't afford any kind of position to the black. So I think we'll see him play red to top corner and top it through and leave an angle on the leftmost of the two balls just below the bottom rail. Either that or, well, actually the way he's looking at that, he's going to just screw back an inch and play the double. Nice angle for the reverse double. Fairly natural angle to come side, bottom and back out. But he doesn't avoid the kiss on the yellow. Now he's in big trouble. I think that's a total. I think he's snookered on both balls. Wow, after Mick played that super developing shot earlier, did not expect him to see him in any kind of predicament like this. And given Sam Bircher a free go at drawing level. Needs one good shot. One decent pot, one decent positional shot. Shouldn't have to do too much. He can choose to play it firm and screw off the side rail, or he can choose to play it as a kind of natural shot and just drop down onto the bottom rail. I think a lot of the players prefer to play them firm. It's called his extension. The ref had just called 10 seconds and he knew that he would be playing the shot during the countdown. He didn't want to do that. So showing a bit of wisdom beyond his years. Just 21 years old. And well, he did play that to screw off the side rail. For a couple of inches less of pace. I think all you can do here is just dink this ball. Well, I think Viv called foul. Yeah, she did. She called foul for a push shot. Very, very rare you see a push shot called. I think it was the right call too. He was so close. Virtually unavoidable to play anything but a push there. But Sam Bircher looked another gift horse in the mouth there. He's virtually handed that frame by Mick. And I mentioned earlier, he has to take every chance that comes his way. Mick's just too good. Could have been 4-all breaking now. So easily. But, could hear the ref counting down. She was on 3 seconds to play the shot. Liam White 9-3 up against Cameron Dunlop. Mark Boyle 8-2 against Jez Graham. Dan Davies 7-4 up against Rob Chilton. Craig Marsh 7-all against Carl Sutton. Jordan Shepherd 4-3 up against Neil Raybone. Ben Roden 7-4 against Michael Steele. Stefan Racidi already through now to the 4 PM matches tomorrow against Oli Bell. Oli will be back in action at 10:45 on the losers side tomorrow morning. Josh Kane 8-5 against Adam Marlowe. Martin McIntosh 6-5 versus Sanjay Patel. Mick Hill 5-3 up against Sam Bircher, as we know, because we're watching it. Sean Chipperfield 10-8 up against Lee Washbrook. John McAllister 4-2 against Declan Brennan. Jordan Schurz 7-4 against Phil Naylor. As I'm speaking, Sean Chipperfield got across the line 11-8. And Scott Gillespie is 4-3 up against Gareth Hibbert. And the life of a pool player will be somewhat different between the losers and the winners tomorrow. The people who win tonight don't have to turn up until 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Those on the losers' side are back in here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, grinding. So these are important frames. Great positional shot from Mick Hill. So as Mick is administering the final rights to this frame, he's going to take a 6-3 lead. And joined in the commentary box by Jed Mann. How you doing, Jed?
Yeah, good, Nick. Cheers, yeah.
You enjoying the event so far?
Yeah, it's a brilliant setup here. Very impressed with what Lee's done in pool. Yeah, it's very good here.
And you're playing in the event as well, aren't you? I saw your name. So this must be the first one you've played. You've obviously stepped in for somebody.
Yeah, I've stepped in for Dan Bishop, but yeah, it's a very good event. I lost 11-9 this morning.
Okay. Who did you play?
Andy Barber.
Oh yeah, tough opponent. So.
Yeah, I'm on against Greg Batten in the losers' side tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah. What's that, 9 o'clock start?
10:45.
Oh, not too bad then. Yeah, those 9 a.m.s that get you. It's a struggle, especially if you have a couple of beers. Yeah. You go home and you've got to get up and get down here and be fresh for a 9 a.m. start. And this game, this Mick Hill against Sam Bircher, I know Sam's a very dangerous opponent. I think he knocked out Jordan Shepherd in the last event. He either put him into the loser's side or knocked him out. I think he knocked him out on the loser's side.
I think when Lee used to run the old tour, I think he won an event. Can't remember which one it was, but I think it was £5,000 to the winner.
I think he was runner-up.
Was it runner-up? Yeah.
I think he was runner-up. Yeah. But yeah, very adept player. But this game really just a case of missed opportunities. Mick's given Sam a few good chances, and Sam could easily be 5-4 up here.
When you're playing Mick, you can't afford to go too many frames behind because he doesn't make too many mistakes as it is. So
what encouraged you? Do you just fancy throwing your hat in the ring, or?
Yeah, just fancied having a game and getting involved.
Challenge yourself?
Yeah, getting involved with all the players and seeing what it's about, really.
Excellent.
Nearly lost the white there.
Solid break there. Still timed it well. Little clusters here and there. He's going to be taking reds. I'm fairly certain.
I found the shark rack quite difficult to use, but once you get used to it, the ball spread very nice. Yeah. A lot better than the normal triangle, that's for sure.
So what part of the country are you from? You sound like you're from...
Hereford.
Oh, yeah, Hereford, okay. I was going to say it's almost a West Country accent. But
yeah, a bit of a farmer accent.
The Hereford accent is almost... there's a few places, Hereford, Norfolk, Somerset, Cornwall, they all sound
Bristol.
Alike. Yeah, Bristol, yeah.
This new cloth seems to be very fast. It's very reactive, very, very reactive.
Yeah, I've not had a chance to get out and give it I normally just go out and give it a little feel just to, see what you expect from it. It's played well. I think all the players have been impressed with it so far. Again, I mean, Mick did this earlier. I got to wonder why. I mean, it's impossible to question Mick's choice of shot, but why is he trying to come back and cannon into that red? I know he wants to leave an angle, and it seems to me like it's almost an OCD thing.
Yeah, trying to be too perfect, maybe.
Well, he mentioned it. I only say that because he actually mentioned it himself in one of the interviews. He kind of gets into his head now. If he sees a pattern on the table, he has to play that pattern.
Yeah.
And even if another pattern becomes apparent that it's better, it's almost an OCD thing that he has to play that original pattern that he was trying to play.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got lucky here.
Oh,
Just
he's got
I
the
mean,
bag.
even covering that bag, he's got very fortunate. And I wonder if that's what it is. He's just thinking to himself, right, if I get myself a full ball cannon on that red, I'm going to leave myself perfect on the next yellow. But you wonder why he needs to. He doesn't need to go anywhere near the red. And he did exactly the same thing a few frames ago, but Sam couldn't take advantage of it.
Ooh.
I think he's
I
okay.
think he's okay there, yeah.
But should be a fairly simple one cushion escape. He's just looking now. It's to the short rail, so a little bit more difficult to judge this angle, but it's a big target where it is. Played it well.
Play that, yeah, well.
Yeah, got out through
He
the
may
gap.
have a shot to the middle, but wouldn't think he'd.
Yeah, very difficult with that red over towards the right side cushion to find an attacking option from here. I wonder if he just playing a little containing shot just to
He's played it
cover
well.
the red. There is a gap still, a clear gap down the right hand side, so I don't know. Mick
Looks to be fairly straight on this top ball.
definitely doesn't have to attack from here, but I think he'll probably take this to top right as a bit of a shot to nothing.
Oh,
He's
he's
played the
that
double.
well.
Yeah, he played that
Very well.
fantastically well. What a great shot. That just shows the vision and why he is such a great player. He just sees shots. I mean, I was thinking he could play it to top right as a bit of a shot to nothing, but
What do we know, eh, Nick?
yeah, absolutely. Well, you wouldn't expect to be calling the shots of one of the greatest players ever to hold a cue. And Mick looking ominous now. Be interested to talk to him after the game about these couple of shots that he's played that you almost think he didn't have to, and wonder if it is that OCD that he previously mentioned about just trying to be perfect on everything. And he said actually in that interview that it was almost like it's become a bit of a challenge. I mean, he's broken the back of the game. He's 5 times world champion. So, but he's actually, what he's trying to do now is beat the game. He's trying to beat the game in a submission. He wants to be perfect on everything, and actually just, like, as I say, almost batter the game into submission
And just not miss.
Yeah, and it's, you know, obviously almost impossible to put that into practice, but it's interesting how he continually challenges himself. And you wonder, because he's openly admitted a number of times before that, you know, he's fallen out of love with the game quite a few times now, and you know, I think he'd dearly like to find something else, but you know, it still obviously pays him a good wage, and he does exhibitions. He was doing one last night, and he just keeps getting dragged into the game, and I wonder if it's just something that he does to just maintain his interest, just to continually challenge himself. Anyway,
I feel Sam needs to try and get a frame as soon as he can.
yeah, this is,
Don't want too many going away. Good break. Controlled it well.
yeah, a really good break, and the Reds look pretty good. You again could make a case for either set. The one, I guess, that causes a problem is the one that's closest to the
Black spot,
black
yeah.
spot. Doesn't really have a pocket. It goes to
Only goes to the left centre, I think.
yeah, left middle. Obviously, when he pots the other one, it'll go to left corner, but no natural angle, and because of that, he's gonna go for yellows.
Ooh. I I haven't watched much of the arena tables. What are the corner bags playing like? Are they quite generous with the new cloth, or?
Yeah, it seems fine. Dan Davey now 8-4 against Rob Chilton. Carl Sutton 8-all against Craig Marsh. There's been nothing between either of those players. Neil Rayburn and Jordan Shepherd locked together as well at 4 each. That one's still got a lot of play left in it. There's going to be a few of these games that go on deep into the night. Declan Brennan 4-all against John McAllister. I mean, these matchups are incredible, aren't they? Scott Gillespie, Gareth Hibbert, 4 each. You know, there's 3 or 4 games that I've named there that could.
Mark Boyle 9-3 up on Jez Graham.
There's 3 or 4 games there that could easily make a final. That it could easily be a final. Would grace a final table.
A few very good opening matches this morning. Phil Harrison v Scott Gillespie. That was a good match. He's got a good angle here. If he wants to move it, he may decide just to play for the one in the middle to drop down the one on the rail. Ooh. I think he'd like to have been a bit straighter on that last yellow, but he should be okay.
Put a bit of side on it, just trying to turn the white across. But, you can drop this dead weight and hold for the black. Just play it as a bit of a drag shot, really. Very nice.
Yeah, nice shot.
Controlled it well, and he's done all he can do. Just pick them off one at a time.
He's got another frame back on the board.
Just stay close to Mick. That's what he needs to do. With eagle eye looking over Sam's shoulder there as that ball was still moving, and she was just watching over his shoulder just to make sure he didn't touch the balls while they were still moving, as it would have been loss of frame. So Sam just very careful to make sure everything had come to a halt. Shepherd is on a clearance with a straight black to middle, and he retakes the lead 5-4 against Neil Rayburn.
Could be a late night for a few of these matches.
Yeah.
Still only just getting stuck into the match.
And as I did mention, Jordan was saying he went back to the hotel room and was poorly just about an hour before his game kicked off, so not seeming to affect him at the moment. Seb Webb having a few words. You got the people's champion having a chat to
most electrifying man in 8-ball of pool.
All of 8-ball pool, yeah. You can see Seb almost hopping from one foot to the other there. He's a real live wire.
Mike King played very well this afternoon. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
11-4, I think that match
He made
finished.
a great comeback, actually. He was 7-1 down in his first round game and then 9-4 down and won 7 in a row to win 11-4. That was his opening game this morning.
He definitely takes some beating when he gets into the match and starts playing well.
Yeah, he played Stevie Dempsey as well, so it was a good sculpt.
Close to the white, going into the middle pocket there.
Jordan Church not having it all his own way. He had a few frame advantage in that game, but now he's just 8-7 ahead against Phil Naylor. Phil, I'm pretty sure, comes from around the Manchester area. I think he plays in and around Savannah Club over there in Whitefield. So Mick is going to have to develop the yellow to the side rail. He can leave himself a nice angle, just drop this in, come a foot across table, and doesn't need to do too much. Just be looking to just come from
Played a good
behind.
cannon there.
Yeah,
Good
lovely cannon. Cushion first, just bring it out to open play. Execute it perfectly, left a lovely angle. This yellow does go past the reds to bottom corner. So it'll be a simple case of dropping that yellow in. Not sure if the black passes into middle. I'd have to guess that it doesn't. So he's going to come around a couple of cushions. And again,
Nicely controlled shot.
Really well controlled. And you can just...
And another frame.
Yeah, really good stuff from Mick Hill. He looks strong. Going to be a force to be reckoned with this weekend. Just going to have a quick look forward to winners round 2, which is 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, and see how that is shaping up. So if Mick Hill does go on to complete this victory, he will go on to play the winner of Sanjay Patel and Martin McIntosh. Sean Chipperfield through already.
11-8 win over Lee Washbrook was that match.
And he will go on to play the winner of John McAllister and Declan Brennan. The winner of Jordan Church and Phil Naylor will go on to play the winner of Gareth Hibbert and Scott Gillespie. So that bottom section is really tough. The winner of Jordan Shepherd and Neil Raybone will go on to play the winner of Carl Sutton and Craig Marsh. So that promises to be another huge clash tomorrow afternoon. Jordan Shepherd now 6-4 up against Neil Raybone. He made short work of that next frame. Players already through to that winner's section. Sean Story playing Toby Bolt.
Could be an all-Welsh affair then tomorrow. Craig Marsh and Jordan Shepherd. If they both win, of course.
Jake Newlove, Dave Fernandez. Arf and Dad Shane Thompson. It's a good game. Ben Tanner is successfully through on the winner's side. He plays Mark Farnsworth tomorrow afternoon. Craig Brown against Mike King. Ronan McCarthy against Matt Brearley. Carl O'Donoghue against Mark Fleming. Tom Cousins against Clint Jansen.
That'll be a very interesting match.
That's a big one. Liam White playing John Rowe. And the rest of the matches are being decided as we speak. So some good games already lining up for that winner's section. It's, quick look at the big games from the losers section. Rich Toomey is playing Neil Wren. Jack Whelan playing Lee Boggy. Cole Bedford playing Paul Riley. Cy Fitzsimmons playing Darren McVicker. Of course, you've got Greg Batten, as you previously mentioned.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think I'm right in thinking that whoever wins that has got a bye in the next round. No, maybe not. No, because the buys will be gone by then. Of course, because there's forfeits either side of you. So I think the winner of your game would play Omar Manchid, the Moroccan player, one of the Moroccan contingent. So both sides shaping up really well.
Dan Davy currently winning 9-4 over Rob Chilton. Josh Kane's just beat Adam Marlowe 11-6.
Sam's called his extension. I think if he had the angle to screw across the face of the red and a full ball cannon to the yellow, he would have probably already played it. But, he controlled that about as well as he could. Just brought the red out into open play, but didn't get any easier, does it? He's got this cluster now. He does have a ball to bottom left, but it's what he does from there.
Very, very tricky from here.
Well, he obviously thinks that he can get to the potting angle, the ball. Okay. Try to play a two-way shot. And you can see Mick tap the table. Clever little shot. Just developing one of his balls.
Mick's quite attacking tonight. He might screw onto it with right hand bottom. Very attacking shot though.
Yeah. I think at 8-4, he can take that liberty.
He might be. No. Good white ball.
Yeah. Nice shot to develop. Is there enough room to squeeze that red past the yellow to the top corner? I don't think he's got much else, and it's a really difficult shot queuing from where he is, and I think that Mick has literally just laid down the gauntlet and said, if you can clear him up from here, you deserve the frame.
Mick certainly in control of this frame. Oh.
Yeah, even more so now. Somehow, between me looking across at the few shots that I've been watching on this game and looking back at the Jordan Shepherd game, he's won 2 frames and he's now 8-4 ahead. Such a quick player. good shot. And Mick, you heard him say shot and then comes over and taps the chalk on the table.
That's one thing you'll notice with Mick. When his opponent plays a good shot, he will always tap the table in appreciation.
Sam still needing to pull some out of the bag. Mick still very much in control. You can get through to the top corner, just rail first. But really don't see any advantage from playing that. His problem is, yeah, he was trying to run the white up into the gap just to the right-hand side of the yellow, and that could have really gone wrong. And I don't know if you saw, but he just put his hand up in way of apology because he knows he got a bit lucky there. Got the double kiss. And hasn't really left any options for Mick. He's got that shot that you mentioned a second ago of playing the yellow on the top rail and screwing into the one over the side cushion, but I mean, he could play it. Decent chance of leaving himself on the other yellow to middle, so he could attack from here, but
you don't. The only problem with playing a shot like that is you don't have too much control. The balls could go anywhere.
yeah,
Make the table very messy. Now, has he given Sam a chance? Is that a...
I think he has. I still think the red forces past the yellow to top right, so
he may play on that early on.
yeah, he can play the plant to top corner and screw across for it now. In fact, I quite like that shot because then he can take the one to left middle and then try and come down the table for this red. The only real problem, red, is the one below the middle bag. He needs to get right under it.
I think he'd like to get rid of that as soon as possible because it leaves traffic getting on the black.
Has he come far enough?
He's underscrewed it.
It's one of those shots. He's got half a pocket to play for, but you really do want to be right behind the ball when you're playing it. So he may elect to take the one nearest the top rail and screw back out and try and get a better angle. He could play it from here, but just it's so much easier when you're right behind it. Deciding to come all the way down table for this slightly more awkward red. Landed on it well.
If he's going to pop the red past the yellow, he's got to land in behind it, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, he can leave a nice angle after this shot. The one to top left. The good thing is, with the red in the middle of the table, he doesn't really have to do anything positionally. Just play that shot and the red's always going to be there for him. So, nice angle. He needs to play this shot with right-hand side, but not too much. You don't want to play it with right-hand side and stun because you'll straighten it up and you'll come across and hit the yellow, which is just above the bolt line. So, just bit of a trace of right-hand side just to kick the white ball across. You can see just queuing to the right-hand side of that red dot.
Oh.
Again, just a touch too far.
That's why I think it would have been better if he played in it as early as possible.
Yeah.
He's running himself into trouble now if the later he leaves it.
Well, again, he can play it. I mean, it's better from here than it was when it was the other side. He can play it. It's a fairly natural path for the white ball to go between the two yellows, top cushion, and then just come out for the red in the right-hand middle. But
looks to be screwing this.
yeah, he has to punch it.
Oh, yeah.
No good.
That was the only problem of leaving it so late on. Had to play a very good positional shot.
Jordan Shepherd on fire at the moment. He's 9-4 up against Neil Raybone.
Yeah, he's a player. Once he gets going, he can win the frames very fast.
I promised myself, as soon as I got here this morning, I was going to go see the bookie and have an each-way bet on Jordan Shepherd. And I got to the hotel, registered my car, walked up the road, decided to stop and get a coffee. The woman took about 20 minutes to make a cup of coffee, and that left me late, and I had to walk straight in and come straight in and get on the commentary. So didn't get a chance to see the bookie, didn't get a bet on. Now Sod's Lawyer going on win this event this weekend. It is. Do you know, I think I've bet on Jordan in just about every event he's played in the last 18 months. The only event I didn't bet on was when he won the IPA English Open. I think it was the English Open.
If it's any consolation, Nick, I've had a nice each-way bet on Jordan. I managed to get there before my coffee this morning.
Thanks for that. 25s, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Cheers for that.
I think it may have been 30s. You may have just missed the boat, but not to worry.
I bet if I go and see Jed now, he'll probably tell me it's like 6-1.
He's probably cut it to less than that for you. Oh.
That's a bit of a lash. Oh.
You can't be making mistakes like that when you're playing someone as good as Mick.
No.
Chances like that don't forgive themselves.
And had Sam been playing his A game and been able to take all these chances from Mick Hill, he would certainly be at least on level par.
I think looking at this match now, he's lost probably four frames that could have gone either way. And that can be the difference sometimes in these kind of matches.
So I'm going to take another quick look around the arena to see what scores there are. Mark Ball 10-6 up against Jez Graham. Dan Davey 10-5 against Rob Chilton on the hill. Carl Sutton has beaten Craig Marsh. So that's Craig Marsh over into the loser's side. Ben Rowland 10-6 up against Michael Steele. Martin McIntosh now 8 frames each against Sanjay Patel. Declan Brennan 6-5 against John McAllister. Jordan Church 9-8 against Phil Naylor. And Scott Gillespie 6-5 against Gareth Hibbert. So those are all the other games in the winners round 1. Neil Raybone's pulled back a frame and is now trailing by 9-5. Sanjay Patel, who I don't think has ever been ahead against Martin McIntosh, is now ahead. He's 9-8 up. There's a few people cheering on in the background, looking through the windows.
Chilton to Dan Davies match.
Yeah, that's the Dan Davey 10-5 up. So whether that was Dan getting across the line or them cheering on Rob Chilton on their betting slip.
Another good break from Mick there.
Super break.
First look, it doesn't look like he's on an easy red ball, but he may play the plant.
Yeah, he could take the plant, but the problem is with that he's going to leave yellow over that pocket almost inevitably. Unless he can just glance across the face. I don't think he can. Just wonder if he can glance across the face and knock the red out that's on the side rail. He definitely can't do that. Mick looking at cushion first. Cush first, play the plant. He feels that...
if it wasn't for the red on just to the edge of the bulk line, I think
Yeah.
he'd be playing the plant straight away.
Yeah, yeah. I think looking at that Cush first option, yeah, he doesn't like it. Just doesn't like any of it. So...
Oh. Ah.
my goodness. Well, you're Mick Hill. And time's getting ahead of you, so you have a quick go at it. I mean, this guy's too good. He doesn't need to get lucky. It's not fair. It's not fair on the rest of us.
Yeah, he doesn't need this sort of luck.
Yeah, Mick will say he played for it afterwards for sure.
I mean, he's a great player, but
Look at this.
I don't think he would have played for that one, Nick.
Just quite disgusting. He gets a fluke and then
That's just what you need.
nails that down the rail.
So another fast frame reeled off by Mick there.
Yeah, Mick Hill on the hill. Just puts his hand up again. Just acknowledging that fluke that he had. Now Rayburn about to pull back another frame against Jordan Church and get it back to a much more respectable 9-6. Oh, that's a great camera angle. That's one that we haven't seen over the last events, I don't think. New camera position? Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few players in the arena, in the venue, starting to struggle now as time's starting to get on.
You see Craig Lakin in the background.
He's got a big match coming up next week, I believe, against Mark Fleming, is
Does,
it?
yeah. And seeing Mark play today, he's played really well.
He had a good win over Carl Boys this morning, was it?
Yeah, and he's through on the winner's side as well, so...
Oh, very nasty and off there.
Yeah. And will that be the last shot he plays? You fear that it probably is.
Mick just having a smile there with the ref. Good to see him getting involved.
So it's going to be yellow into the black to break everything up at the bottom of the table. I'm not sure that was, well, maybe it was his plan to go to go Reds, but
9-6 now to Jordan Shepherd.
I think yellows look the better option, but he doesn't have an opener, so he's going to be forced into going Reds here. But the way the balls have gone at the bottom of the table,
Yeah,
I think he prefers to be on yellows.
gone very tricky.
Yeah, Jordan Shepherd's break as well, and he's potted from the break, and yellows look particularly nice. I can see that one very quickly being 10-6. And when I say very quickly,
I'm sure it's made you feel a lot better, Nick, looking at his performance and how well he's playing.
good friends with Jordan, so I don't mind. I'll take the I'll just happily take the win. Enjoy watching him play, and also part of a little syndicate that put him into the event. So would love to see him do well, just to pay back the syndicate. So you can audible increase in the volume in the room now. There's a couple of the games that people were focusing their attention on in the other arena have come to a conclusion. I see Rob Chilton just in the background having a chat, so his game's finished.
I believe he's got quite a big match next month against Jordan Shepherd,
He does,
isn't he?
yeah. He's playing Jordan in Murphy's for 40,000.
That'll be a very, very good match. Good standard, that.
Yeah, that's 13th of October. I'm hoping to get up to Doncaster to watch that one, but it is a few days after my birthday, so my wife might have something else to say about that.
A chance for Sam here that I didn't expect.
And I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to back Jordan for this event, because I know he's been putting so much time into the practice table for that money match, and he was always going to be, he's always going to be buzzing this weekend.
His form's really started to come back
Oh,
now.
that's incredible. The last he's been in the doldrums, fair to say, for probably the last year or so, but he's really made a resurgence in the last kind of 5-6 months. Oh my goodness me.
Yeah.
Just as I say that, he has missed an absolute drop-in into the middle bag. And he needs to regain his composure, because Neil had 7 reds left on the table. And Jordan missed a drop-in into the middle bag and then just flicked the black off the table. With Neil having 7 reds still to pot. Okay, they were all in the open and pretty much a gimme, but you just cannot do that.
That could give Neil a fair bit of confidence now, knowing that.
That's just shocking, absolutely shocking.
It
Cannot do that.
Just shows too much weakness if you know you're at the standard they're playing at. If Neil has a good break now, the match could all have changed.
Well, he could pull back within 1, and then suddenly the pressure's right back on Jordan, and that will play on his mind. Goodness me, what a swing from 9-4 up. But Neil Raybone's gone straight in off on the break.
And yellows look to be the ball there.
Yeah. Apologies for our attention waning from this game, but this one's kind of playing itself out. And just watching that closer game with a bit of attention. You can also watch that game. It's I think it's across on table 3. It's 3 or 4, one of the outside tables.
Sam manages to claw one back.
Yeah, making the score more respectable.
Still a big ask from here, but
Very much what could have been. Mark Boyle's still on the hill against Jez Graham. Dan Davey, we know 11-5, he's through. Craig Marsh in the losers side, so that was on table 11, so the game's still remaining on stream. Table 3, Jordan Shepherd, Neil Raybone. Table 4, Scott Gillespie, Gareth Hibbert. And of course this one that you're watching. Still some good action to finish off the evening.
So do you enjoy doing the streaming at these events, Nick?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it unless I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing it for probably 5 years now, haven't we? Somewhere around about 5 years. And, yeah, you have to enjoy it.
Oh, what a break by Mick there. Oh, it's a brilliant break.
Is a monster.
That's one of the best breaks I've seen this weekend so far.
Jordan seems to have put that miss out of his mind, and I mean, it was just an incredible miss by him. He had basically a straight black into the middle, and somehow, I don't know what he's done. But, he's now on the hill, 10 frames to 7, and it's his break in the 18th frame. As we see Mick Hill, who is on the hill looking for just one more frame, and he's got what you have to say for a player of his standard, an absolute gimme. He's not going to be making any mistakes from here. You'll see a tiny touch of side imparted on the ball just to open up the angle, and nothing more to do than drop this in. Leave himself a black to middle.
Very good match that was.
Really was.
Very enjoyable.
Yep. Mick doing what he does, and he's safely through to 4 PM tomorrow on the winner's side. For Sam, he goes across to the loser's side. Just it was a game of chances, and he just didn't take his. So cast your attention across now to that Jordan Shepherd game over on table 3. I'm almost certain that there will be an interview with the winner. In fact, I can see Lee Kendall's already heading this way. And so there'll be an interview with Mick Hill, so do stick around. But aside from that, for the live action on this main arena table, it's the conclusion of the action for the evening. Thanks very much to Jed for joining me on commentary.
Cheers, Nick. Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Sure, I'll be in here again over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll be back with the action on the losers' side at 10:45 tomorrow morning. A little bit of a lie-in for us. The action gets underway at 9 AM, but we're live from 10:45, and we'll be going right the way through to the conclusion of the day's play tomorrow. And we look forward to seeing you then. But for now, from the main arena, it's a good night.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Congratulations, Mick. A good win there, convincing win as well.
Yeah, I saw the draw. When I got here this morning, I didn't recognise the lad's name who was playing first match, and then I walked to the table and I've seen him around a million times, and when I was like, "Oh, you're right, mate, how you doing?" This and the other, and that was a bit of a battle. And I saw I was going to potentially play Sam if he won. I think he was playing Phil. Is it from Crew? Is it Phil Malone?
Phil Malone, yeah.
Yeah, and well, Sam's like the young lad from Wolverhampton who's kind of. I think we've struggled for quite some time. I think the game has to bring somebody through, bring the new ones through, and obviously Dudley, Wolverhampton, we've always kind of prided ourselves on bringing players through that have been successful, whether it be Rob Chilton or the days of Stu Pritchard or Britain playing the money matches, etc. And then I feel like obviously Sam's come next. I did a bit of coaching with Sam. He was probably about 14 or 15, and I could see the potential because he was quite willing to learn, and he picked it up, and he kind of got what was going on. And now he practices with Rob regular, which obviously in itself tells you that he can play, because Rob's not going to waste his time with people that can't play. Rob said, yeah, he's come on, he's kicked on. I spoke to Neil Radburn and said, yeah, he's kicked on nice, and I know he's had a few good results here in the amateur event. So I thought it could be one of them where whatever. But the way the match sort of went it was a little bit kind of hit and miss. And I suppose the experience of me being able to slug my B game as opposed to maybe Sam needing his A game.
I think the fact that you were in the main arena probably helped you more than with Sam in a sense, because your experience out in that main arena.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that, and I just think you know yourself. We've spoken about it a lot that when you find trying to find a way to win, sometimes it weren't really pretty. It's no good sitting here saying, "Oh, it was great," and he played, because it wasn't really like that. It was really kind of match play pool. Tables like lightning. So I spoke to one or two of the players. Obviously, it's catching us out a little bit because it's quick. And that's obviously something that we've got to adjust to. But I do think that you might see one or two mistakes in the early rounds that you probably wouldn't see, because obviously the players are losing the cue ball a little bit where maybe they wouldn't have done before. So I think there's a little bit of that going on in pretty much everywhere from what I can see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bit of a game of missed chances for Sam, wasn't it? He had chances in the early frames. In fairness, probably should have been maybe 5-4 up when he was 6-3 down. He just couldn't seem to take those early chances.
Well, it's interesting because, the amount of times where you play and, it's perceived, you're playing so-and-so, you don't get many shots and he doesn't miss, and it's pretty much nonsense, really. We all miss balls and we all do make mistakes. But I think, with where the experience sort of kicks in, is you tend to know when to jump on a chance when it's a big moment. Yeah. He had a half chance to go 3-1, which is quite an interesting point in the match because he breaks next, and he could go 4-1. Then all of a sudden, the new young kid from Wolverhampton's got me kind of at it a little bit, and I'm obviously kind of, because you do think like that. But I think where your experience comes in is I think you sort of spot vital times, and even when things are a little bit messy and you think, well, I can go, but this is 6-3. If I go with 6-4, he breaks and clears, now the match is back on again. Yeah. If it's 6-3, I just hold back a shot, maybe cover a bag, or maybe do something, even it might be a 7 out of 10 finish, cover the bag, dangle that carrot a little bit, maybe force your opponent has to go. Then you come to the table, you roll them in 10 out of 10, then you're 7-3, and the match, you've been commanded the match again. And I think it's a very, you might agree with me on this, but it's a very, very, certainly from a coaching perspective, it's a very difficult thing to coach that. Yeah. You either kind of understand you've got somebody at it, or you don't, if you know what I mean. And well, you was the master at it. You was that kind of.
Yeah, it's better experience, isn't it? Because sometimes you just think, well, I should get them, but he probably won't, and that's the gamble sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely think it gets at that, and I think you kind of, how many players do you actually see winning playing champagne pool all the time. It looks great, it's fantastic, amazing, but I can't count more than 2 or 3 players that play what I call champagne pool and have won loads of tournaments. The one that springs to mind would be Mellin when he was in his prime. But again, you know, to do it over 10, 15, 20 years, it does tend to be the likes of Darren or the likes of when Lee was playing, or Keith or Greg or Ross or Gareth, or where it's time to cover a pocket now, and it's time not to have a go. And I think that's where you see multiple tournament winners over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And you know, Sam may look back and he may, just that opportunity there, or just that, but it's not really that. It's the fact that at some point, hopefully he kicks on to the next level, and it'll really be understanding the game more than whether he knocks a finishing or not.
And it's not always about the rules, is what you're saying. It's judging where you are in the frame rather than the rule set that you're playing.
Yeah, it's just having that. I mean, Mark Selby's like great at it at snooker. You know, the amount of times he wins with his B game, and when he knows he's got somebody at it, he really knows. Do you know what I mean?
I think I mentioned it in the previous game when Tom Cousins was playing, because Craig Wadding was always on his heels. He was always one frame behind, and you just felt in a minute, Tom kept pulling 2 ahead, and he was back within 1, and you thought in a minute, Tom's just going to break dish. He's going to be 3 ahead. It's going to be game over. He got that 8-6. Then he broke dish. It's almost that little killer instinct that something just switches on, doesn't it? When he thinks this is the moment I can grab the match.
Well, there is a little bit of that, but also as well, you know, maybe from the I haven't seen that match, so not even talk about that match, but just in general, there's a little bit again, and I do bring Lee and I do bring Keith into the conversation, and Darren was really good at it, and I tried to learn that side. Carl Morris, where let's say it's 8-5, and you've got to finish, and you might go 8-6. But you're not hurting the person that's in front because he's got a cushion. Yeah. If you can somehow, well, it'll be different with this shark rack. Don't get me wrong, but it's called the shark rack, as opposed to a triangle, because you do get a bit more scrappier frames. But sometimes, I mean, I watched Lee do it a million times when he played the likes of Chris or me when I was younger. He could go game when they were pretty much over the hole, and he'd cover the bag just to get you at it. You know, because that's part and part of look. I want to get you at it. I want to get you annoyed. I want you to get you frustrated. I'm going to roll them in the next 10 minutes' time. Don't believe me, that's what's going to happen. And when you come to the table, they're going to be half there, and you're going to show a bit of petulance, and you're going to go when you shouldn't because you've lost the plot. Yeah. Then you don't get them, and then you start to lose the plot more. Then it's 8-7. Then he's rolling it's 8 apiece, and all of a sudden, you're not in control of the match anymore, even though a player could have rolled them in to go 8-6, roll them in 10 minutes later and change the matchup is what I'm saying. You don't necessarily get that opportunity with the rack, and obviously the table's playing so nice and playing so open. It's great for the viewers. As a player, sometimes you're thinking, I wish these would go a little bit messy, or I wish they'd go on the rails, because I want to try and turn it into a different game. But yeah, I mean, that's something that Sam will learn as he goes, and he'll look back and he'll look at certain matches, and I know I'll look at certain matches where, you know, I remember that time I've missed the ball against you at Bradford to get on the TV. It was a big thing. We'd never played on the TV before, and we were playing a pro event at Bradford, 7-6 up, obviously playing Lee. I think you're number 2 in the rankings at the time. I'd just come on the tour. And I'm thinking about having my hair cut, you know, before I've not the ball. Where shall I go and have my hair cut? I'm on the telly tomorrow, and shall I go and get a new waistcoat? Miss the ball. Lee clears up, breaks and clears. I'm fuming. But having said that, 2 months later, we played at the World Championship at Blackpool, and I was playing Tony Holgate. Similar thing. And I've got down, you're going to go and have your hair cut again. I got up, I got away.
You learned.
I learned, I learned from it. And I think that's where people that really excel in sports or games, wherever you want to call it, they learn, don't they? They know that they've made a mistake. They'll own up to the mistake, and they'll say, right, if I get that opportunity again, try not to do it again. You know, and I think that's where the youngsters particularly with the black ball rules, you know, and I've said it for quite a while now, I do think a lot of the youngsters do play a little bit over-aggressive.
Yeah.
But I just think that's the mentality of the way the game is at the moment. And maybe that does enable the likes of Phil, you know, who is smart and switched on, and yourself, Lee, still doing well on the tour and whatever else, and your Ronans and the old guard on the IPA still doing really well, because they know when they're supposed to go game and when they're not supposed to go game.
It's interesting just hearing what you were talking about there. Yourself as a player, I mean, you're very much a student of the game, aren't you? I mean, you seem to be looking inward all the time to try and challenge yourself to new things. And I touched on it in commentary in that game, because I remembered something that you mentioned in an interview with Lee after during the second event, and you were talking about almost like an OCD now, where you're trying to break the game, you're trying to beat the game, you're trying to get on top of the game. And there were a couple of shots in there where I just felt, I think there were two shots where you played for a cannon and just missed the cannon. It almost felt to me you didn't really need to play that cannon, but it was almost like you'd set it out in your mind, you want to play that cannon. It didn't quite go right. You ended up, I think, snookering yourself on that ball. Are you finding that more of a factor? Is it always just you trying to challenge yourself?
Well, I think there's two parts to that, really, because I totally understand what you're saying. I think my biggest asset is also my biggest weakness, and certainly, like growing up 18, 19, 20, 21, etc., practicing with a lot of the top players, Darren Appleton once said to me, he said, sometimes you try to be too perfect, sometimes you try to play the shot too good. Yeah. And I had an interesting conversation with Mark Robertson, obviously Neil Robertson, his brother's the snooker player. And Mark's a really, really good pool player in his own right, and we speak a lot when I go to Australia. And I just find it really, really hard to pull the trigger on something that I don't believe I've got no control over. And the more I've gone on with it, it's now getting to the stage where it has, you know, when I'm going to be on, then the cue ball's going to be where it's supposed to be. There is going to be the odd time where, like you say, I'm going to try and be too perfect, miss the cannon, where really I could have just gone into him and probably got a result. But
that style of play then, because Darren would always leave himself the shot. Darren would leave himself, and the ball could leave himself a long pot, where your cue ball control is that good, you're good at getting in tight areas, and that's always been an asset of your game, and you should never change that, to be honest.
Well, I just sort of feel like, you know, I do actually sort of totally get where he's coming from. I think that I sort of said to myself maybe 3 or 4 years ago, why am I playing this game? Why am I playing it? I know why I was playing it from the age of 18 to 30. Yeah. Because we were predominantly playing UK-style pool. There wasn't these opportunities as such to go overseas and play these different cue sports and mix it. It was there a little bit with a 9-ball, but it was never really there. Yeah. You know, Darren sort of opened the floodgates for that a little bit, as far as an English pool player is concerned. Maybe you could argue Tommy Donlan, but Darren, you know, in recent years. And I feel a little bit like I said to myself, well, why am I really playing this? Okay, I understand why I'm here, because it's my profession, it's my job, and of course I want to come in and I want to win the tournament, I want to win my wage. But I want to win the way I want to win. Yeah. Now, I'm not comparing myself to Ronnie O'Sullivan by any stretch of imagination. He's phenomenal. But when I listen to a lot of his interviews, I feel like I can relate to it so much, because he's saying, I want to win in the style that I want to win, and if it means that I don't win, then I don't win. Yeah. Now, he's a multi-millionaire, and he's maybe got more of a case for doing it how he wants to, but I feel like I've got to that stage where I want to win the way I want to. And I was kind of saying to my friends, where we were talking about the world rules in particular, and I can't go to these tours anymore and play a 35-40 minute tactical frame, because I just don't want to do it. It's just not where I'm at. And if that's the case, then that's the case. Now, if you're saying to me I've got to go to Blackpool at the World Championship and play a 35-minute frame, no problem. Yeah. Because that's a bit different now. That's something that I want. I really want to win that, and that means more to me winning that than picking up the check. Yeah. So I can do it at those tournaments. But the other tournaments, the tours and these regular one-dayers, I can't put myself through standing there for 35 minutes playing a tactical frame anymore. So I want to play how I want to play. Now, if that means I'm going to get beat in the quarters and not win the tournament, then so be it. Because I just cannot play the game anymore to just meaning that I win. I'm not necessarily playing to win anymore, if that makes sense. It's strange. I'm playing because I want to play the game how I think the game should be played, and I want to get the finish how I think the finish should be done, and I want to run out the balls the way I think Poole is challenging me to do.
Yeah.
And potting 7 balls on the black off 10 cushions does nothing for me. I don't think it's good pool. I never have. Somebody rolling the last ball and then potting the black is great pool. Somebody coming off 5 cushions and getting on the black isn't great pool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, I probably have got to the stage where I've got OCD with it, I guess.
Mick, it's always fascinating talking to you. We'll probably have to cut this short because I just noticed Rob Chilton at the window. I'm guessing he's your lift.
Yeah,
and he's going absolutely mad over there. I think he wants to get you out of the room. Absolutely fascinating talking to you as always, and hopefully we'll get another chance tomorrow.
Okay, cheers.
Okay, well done, Mick. We're through tomorrow now, and it's going to be the losers section. We don't start at the 9 o'clock. We'll be in the 10:45 session, and we'll pick you some great matches. So thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Good night.